Notts County Talk, live with episode 38 of the Pavis Perspective podcast, powered by Better Bytes Computers. Anything you want, refurbished computers, if you need repairs, check out Better Bytes in Mapley, run by Kev, massive Notts fan, and they are powering us for the rest of the season, so massive shout out to him. Also, there's only one player we could have put on the thumbnail, George. One player that could have gone on the thumbnail this week. You know, he's there holding a match ball on the thumbnail. It's that man, isn't it? Ruben Rodriguez.
Yeah, what a player. What a result as well. I thought, tomorrow's game as well, I thought Southend could have been a bit of a banana skin. But, it wasn't at all. 3-0. Great result. Ruben to get his first career hat-trick as well. He was buzzing with it. He deserves it. He's been really good. Like, he had a bit of a dip in form, didn't he, just after January? But, he's finding good form again. So it's good to see, really good to see, especially at this point of the season now where, I think after tomorrow's game, I'm not going to say they're easy, but they're favourable. The rest of our fixtures, definitely favourable. So for him to be in good form and maybe a couple of other players, it's great for us,
Yeah, it is. He didn't really know what to do. Did you see the celebration? And I think he said in his post-match he wasn't sure what to do.
Yeah.
Just stood there, didn't he, and sort of gobsmacked. But it's good for him because I feel like his performances, even some of the games where he didn't really play as well as he could have, his performances were still really good. Callum says he stole Chickson's hat-trick. Chickson's is due, and Chickson's is due at Wembley, Callum. Just know that. Keep that with you. If that happens at Wembley, unbelievable. Evening Callum, Chris, Ellie, Charlie for joining us on this Friday night. The week feels a bit empty without a Tuesday. Do you not agree? Without a Tuesday fixture.
It does, yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Something we're not really that used to, of recent anyway. It feels like we've not been down to a game for ages.
Yeah, it does. We obviously didn't make Southend. We're not making Torquay, although I was very much debating going down straight after this. Genuinely was sat earlier speaking to my missus thinking, can I persuade her to go down to Torquay? The weather's looking all right down there, but it's not happening, unfortunately. But
yeah.
We're back for most of the rest of the games this season. We've got Kings Lynn next Friday, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how tomorrow plays out. Chris says if we win tomorrow, then my optimism levels are going to overdrive. I agree. If you look at what's happened so far this season and when we've hit the form that we've hit, we've hit some really good spells. We hit that 7-game unbeaten streak just after January. When everything was sort of messed up with COVID and postponements from poor pitches and things like that. This, for me, we'll go into Southend in a second. This for me feels like a completely different run of form as well. Completely different. And I've said it before. I said it last season. It feels like a turning point. This one, I can't stress enough how different I feel about this run of form. I was messaging you Wednesday night, possibly about this, and the confidence I've got. And the way the teams have played and the way we've played, for me, it's a massive turning point. You're a little bit more cautious, aren't you?
I wouldn't even say I'm a little bit more cautious, to be honest with you. I'd say you're a lot more confident than I am. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I don't know if it's just me putting my guard up because I'm just so used to, things going really well and then all of a sudden they're not going so well for Notts anyway. But yeah. It's so difficult to call if it is going to be a really good run of form and we're going to have a really good end to the season, or because it's just so irregular, isn't it? Our form, like 1 minute we're really good and we feel like this squad will do anything to get a win and really gritty in defence, and then 1 week it'll just be like, what's going on? But there's been times this season as well where it's been like, are we even going to make playoffs? It wasn't long. I know it was like 1 or 2 games maybe, but there were times. Yeah, there were times this season where we were thinking, geez, what's going on? So it's great to have turned it around in such little time, but I just feel like, the last 2 years of playoffs, 2 seasons even, I'm just not overly confident going into them. I mean, you look over the last 4 seasons. Yeah, over the last 4 seasons, we've lost 3 playoffs, one of those being in League 2.
Yeah, I mean, how different would your levels of optimism be if we hit that 2nd or 3rd spot? Because for me, that takes me from like genuine 20% chance of winning the playoffs, which only since the playoffs have been structured this way. They haven't always been structured this way, where 6 teams make it. But since it's been structured this way, only Hartlepool have done it. And I would say, yes, Hartlepool did it, but it was in very strange circumstances at Ashton Gate and things like that. And it's very different. Only Hartlepool have ever done it this way. So my optimism would literally go from 20% up to 80%, I think, genuinely.
Yeah. In Torquay's defence for that one, I thought they were hard done by with a few of the goals against Hartlepool in that final.
Yeah.
But, that's football.
Yeah, it is. Alice says, keep believing. I will believe. I mean, it's sort of roles reversed, isn't it? You were the optimistic one for 2 years. 2 years, you were the optimistic one. First one to say we'll catch Barrow. If the season hadn't happened, you're the first one to say we'll beat Barnet and get through to Wembley in that tie. You've been the optimistic one. I've been the more cautious one. We've swapped roles here.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just maybe a couple more wins. I think tomorrow's massive. It really is, because they've not been an easy side to beat since we've been in the National League over Torquay. We've never really done fantastically well against them. And every time I just think about Torquay, I think about the playoffs last season, and it was heartbreaking stuff. So that's why I'm a little bit dubious. But talk to me in 2 weeks' time. Who knows?
Exactly. Evening, Ben. A lot of people joining. One Rovers vlogs, got Bristol Rovers fan watching us. Appreciate that. I think you've got Tranmere tomorrow, if I'm looking at that. So good luck for that. I appreciate you joining us. Hopefully, we'll be playing you again very soon. I really do hope. I mean, you're 5th currently in League 2. If you don't go up, hopefully we'll be playing you again. So we'll backtrack a little bit. We've got so much to talk about tonight. We'll backtrack a little bit to last Saturday. It feels like a while ago. But I predicted 1-1. And I said Southend only have this one chance to get playoffs. For me, their chance was Saturday against Notts. If they didn't win, if they drew, they didn't get playoffs. If they didn't win, they didn't get playoffs. And I think the way I sort of predicted it happening, they came out quite quickly, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So they came out quite quickly, but we weathered it. And that's something we wouldn't have done before, which is massive for me. So the fact we weathered that storm, I mean, if you look at everything we've shown in the last few games we've had, Dagenham and Redbridge, 4 games ago now, we took a battering. Do you remember the Yaros saves in that game?
Yeah.
Some stunning saves. That was a battering towards the end of the game. We won the game. Bournemouth at home, really, really good performance. Although we won 1-0, did you ever feel like... I never get this feeling not. Did you ever feel like at 1-0 Bournemouth were even going to come back? I didn't really feel that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if I've ever felt like that 1-0. I can't agree on that.
I genuinely didn't feel like Bournemouth had that much of a threat. I thought we controlled the game superb. I thought we were brilliant at that. You then got Chesterfield game. Form goes out the window. Performances go out the window. It's a derby. We should have won it with the header. They did hit the post. They pressed a bit towards the end. And then Southend didn't expect 3-0. Didn't expect a 3-0 at all. And the performances we've got there, I know you tweeted earlier sort of a question, are we going to see Sam Graham start at all? I think he's purely backup now because I think that back three is so good. I mean,
yeah, I'd agree, to be fair. It's a good talking point because I don't know if he'd be, what's his third time at Notts or fourth?
Third, yeah.
So it's his 3rd time at Notts, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like he'd probably be wanting to just start a few games or at least get like a decent amount of game time. But like you say, our defense is doing so well at the minute. How can you break that up and change it?
I don't think you can. I mean, I'm looking at the last 4 games since the absolute shambles at Stockport. I mean, the only good thing about Stockport was the drive home, wasn't it? That was a good laugh. Playing Guest of the Year with the songs. That was a good drive home. So if Will or
Jake really didn't want to
Jake watch him. No, I didn't want to lose that point. But I'm the referee for that game, and if you say a year out, there's nothing you can do to get that back.
Using his phone money and cheating. But...
Yeah. So but there we go. That was the best point of the day. But you look at it, 2 clean sheets in the last 4. That was Bournemouth and Southend. 2 goals conceded, Chesterfield and Dagenham. Not bad at all. Ben here says, just get this up. He says, either by luck or design, having Dion, Rawlinson and Argentine gives us a bit of the grit we needed at the start of the season. Well, if you look back to sort of the bad spell we had, we didn't have Arter at that point. Rawlinson was injured or he didn't think he was making the bench with his injuries, and Dion wasn't in the side because Richardson sort of played him out of the team, and he was maybe on the bench. We had no steel in that side, do we?
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, to make a bigger point on Arthur as well, he surprised me at how much he is like that. Do you know what I mean? You just sort of think of, I don't want to sound cliche, but you just sort of think of these players like Arthur in the National League is unheard of. Like, you're never going to get a player of that caliber again in the National League. You'd think they're going to come in and be like, clean players, like gem, professional. I'm not saying it's not professional to be like that, but he was starting fights when he was at the Boreham Wood game where he nearly got sent off. Or was it Chesterfield? I can't remember.
It was Boreham Wood.
Yeah, you're just sort of thinking, gee, calm down a little bit. You're going to get sent off here, but that is what you need. You need that midfield. And people have been saying it on Twitter, on Facebook for a while about having that sort of person in the middle of the park that is like that. Nasty, wins the ball, good range of pass, and his range of pass is fantastic. And yeah, since he's come in, he's done amazing, and his qualities have really shown.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, before he came in, yes, we had players that had different qualities, but you look, the only real player when Rawlinson was out injured that had that sort of not aggressive because that's the wrong word, because he was using it in the right sense.
Courageous.
Was Carl Cameron. And then you had Dion playing some games at wing back. You had a centre back and a wing back.
Yeah.
Now you've got it all over the pitch, haven't you?
Yeah.
Rawlinson, I'd even say Slocum at some points when he was in the squad was a little bit like that. But we've got it all over the pitch now, massively. Yeah. And Callum again says not afraid to point. So there we go.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you've got a player of his caliber that can point. But to talk about that as well, I think Ruben shows flashes of that in his game as well. That little bit of, in some players' respect, it's controlled aggression, is it? Yeah, he's clever with it. He's very clever with it. But sometimes it can become a bit uncontrolled, I think, which has shown once or twice this season. But, you can't really complain after his recent form.
I think, though, putting him alongside, don't you think his performances have also picked up as Arthur's come in?
Yeah, definitely.
I said it from the Dagenham game with Vincent. Vincent, that Dagenham game was everywhere on the pitch. And it happened to coincidentally be when Arthur came in. Palmer's pushed forward. The first thing you notice, I think it was Boreham Wood, is look how much better Palmer is pushed forward when Arthur's sat back.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been a massive player to bring to the side. And Callum says here we've got Jim O'Brien back to add to that as well. What do you think? How do you see Jim O'Brien's role being for the rest of this season? Because he was on media duties, wasn't he, earlier in the week?
Yeah, he was. How do I see his role? I think he's as anyone's guess is as good as anyone's, isn't it? Really, because who knows? He could be one of them where we see him once or twice for the rest of the season, or it could be one of those where you're thinking you've got the lineup secured on FanHub, and then you go on and Jim O'Brien started because he's got that in his locker, and he definitely, I do fancy Bertrand to start him for 1 or 2 games for the rest of the season, especially some of the more favourable games.
Dover away, I fancy him at Dover away.
Yeah, but they put 5 past Wrexham, not too long ago.
I know they did.
That's good.
Don't get me started on Wrexham. Honestly, they are. If anyone's seen the video of their fan calling the Stockport ticket office to ask for tickets, it's just, it's a bit embarrassing. I'm not sure. It's very, very embarrassing. But there we go. I was going to move on to something else, but Chris has brought this up. The sneaky 3-game ban for Eli served under the radar. Is this, George? Is this smart? Do you think this is when we're told he was unwell?
Can you do that?
I can say I'm unwell and just not turn up to work.
Does it not also coincide with the birth of his daughter?
I don't know. I don't know him that well. I know you.
I'm sure it does,
How would you know that?
Because he put it on his Instagram.
I haven't seen that.
Papatron.
I haven't seen that. What do you think? Because
I don't know. It's strange, isn't it? Who knows what to say about that?
The ban's been served, surely.
I don't know. I don't know if it has or not.
Because you would have to.
From my understanding, I don't think it has been served.
You don't think it's been served at all?
No, I think it comes into.
No, if I'm looking at this right now, Yeovil's the game it happened in.
Yeah.
Hang on, I've got to put that up. Yeah, it was the game that
I caught
it
it.
happened there. Yeah, it happened at Yeovil. He wasn't in the squad for Solihull, but he was sat on the bench. He wasn't in the squad for Stockport, but then he was back playing 45 minutes against Dagenham. So I don't think his 3-game ban's been served.
No, it starts now.
Because then on the bench against Bournemouth, on the bench against Chesterfield, 7 minutes against Southend. I don't know what's really happened there because he was in brilliant form and then he's just gone. Like he's back on the bench and being brought on for 7 minutes in a 3-0 win.
Player of the month, don't forget.
Player of the month, but then it begs the question: since the 5th of March, he's played 52 minutes of football.
Yeah,
since the 5th of March, and all of a sudden that hard work that he took to get ready and match fit is sort of gone because he of all players I've seen take time to get match fit, he was up there, and because he'd had so long out. Anyway, I'm not sure. Got Torquay fan joining us.
Quality.
Yeah, he is quality. Torquay fan join us. We'll have a chat about Torquay in a minute. We'll get onto that in a second. You reckon that we'll have you on strings? Not sure. We're unpredictable, as George already mentioned. Very unpredictable. So that's the Eli Sam situation sort of looked at. The next thing to look at, George, it was like a soap opera, wasn't it? On Saturday night on Twitter.
Yeah,
Can't believe what I was seeing.
I think the less said, the better. But we have to talk about it.
We have to.
I think no one's innocent in that, right? I don't know. These things happen.
Hang on, let's just clear up. It's about Carl Roberts.
Yeah, these things happen. Like, when you're out with your friends, certain things get done and certain things get done. You've had a couple of drinks. Like, everyone's done it. Let's be honest. Like, we're all human. But I think some of the stuff that I was seeing that he was liking, and he was out with the people that were tweeting stuff like #free Carl Roberts and things like that. It doesn't look great, does it? And I think he should have conducted himself better in that respect. But then, what was it, like 11 at night? He clears it up with a statement, doesn't he? And then all those tweets that he had liked and the tweets that were put out, one of which was by a former Notts player, Regan Booty, by the way, which was very stir the pot, but you take it. They were all taken down, even the tweet from Regan Booty. So, obviously something was done about it. And I think that's good. You don't want that on the club, especially when both parties, in being Birchnell and Carl Roberts, have now said that nothing's happened. It kind of coincides with what I was saying. Like, he might have been really rearing to go for this England C thing, and then obviously he didn't want to get injured. He probably might not have been 100%. And then when he's come back from England C, he's not been like match fit because he's struggling still after playing 90 minutes for football. That to me now, that seeing both parties saying that, like Birchland and Roberts, that seems to be what's happened. And Roberts pretty much said himself that is what happened.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I think the way that, like I said, the way that things were being said and done on Twitter, it didn't look very good.
It didn't. But what I'm going to say is, I believe. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. I believe absolutely nothing went on. There's no problem. There's no problem at all. And I think it was just meant as a bit of a joke, thinking that the fans would get it's a joke and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
But then it got a little bit personal with some fans. Sort of didn't like that. I genuinely don't think I think we've read too much into it and nothing went on.
Yeah, I agree. But that's what happens, isn't it? I think things really get out of hand quickly. Hearsay. Like connecting the dots, like it does look dodgy, doesn't it? Him not even being in the squad when he's playing for England C. Like, I can understand people thinking it, and I said it to you, didn't I? People saying, "Oh, this guy goes to my Belbers who knows Carl Roberts, and he said this." Like, it's all Chinese whispers. And
exactly.
It's just ridiculous.
To be honest, like you said, when you've had a couple of drinks, the other weekend, and like Callum said, you ended up, I don't know how many you'd have, you ended up delivering Eli Sam's baby. So it's absolutely, and that's where we'll leave it. And I hope that's all sorted around to go for the playoffs. But that all being said, how much I like Carl Roberts, how much I want him to be back in the squad, you can't put him in the starting lineup for me. How can you put him in this starting lineup at the minute? Because
form-wise, no, you can't.
Yeah, not at the minute. You're not dropping Ruben Rodriguez at all. forget dropping Wootton because he's not doing that. Wootton could score 2 own goals in a game and he wouldn't get dropped. I promise you of that. He wouldn't drop him. We've got no out and out striker. You're not dropping Artie, you're not dropping Palmer, you're not dropping Vincent for me. So where does Cal come back into that? That midfield three of Palmer, Archer, and Vincent is fantastic. Chris said he could come in for Vincent. I get that.
I think he could come in for Vincent as well. I agree with Chris, because I think in the games where Cal's not played, Richardson hasn't looked as good. And I think a lot of that is down to, the understanding of each other's games, the overlaps, the underlaps, just the 1-2s between them two is really good down that right-hand side.
We'll see tomorrow.
We'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. I think it'd be kind of good to see him start, just to maybe silence a few doubts that people have.
Yeah. We've got Dor, runs a Forest channel, asking about Arthur and Richardson. Pretty much talked about Arthur. We'll briefly go over it in case you missed it, Dor, but Arthur's outstanding. This league is it's a bit of a game for him. Like, he's just takes it very easily. He did look a little bit leggy against Chesterfield, but he'd come off playing no competitive games since January, to playing 3 games in 7 days, and it was against the rivals that were pressing hard. Came back after a week's rest against Southend, gets an assist, played really, really well. Richardson, I think he set his bar so high at the start that now he doesn't look as good. But if his bar wasn't that high at the start, we'll be thinking he's incredible now.
Yeah, and I think something to add on Richardson as well is he needs to improve his finishing.
Yeah, that sounds weird from a wing back, but
he gets himself in such great positions. Like, I mean, if you've got the time, watch the Stockport highlights. He misses a couple of really good chances. I think he missed one against Chesterfield as well, if my memory serves me. So if he had better finishing, he'd be like Tom said, he sets the bar high, but he could be a lot better with just little tweaks. But he's so young, he's got plenty of time to develop.
But also very good player. So,
yeah. I agree with what Chris says. They're not doing that well. We'll have them again next season.
Yeah, just honestly, get word into the club, Door. Release them. I would release them. Because you don't want us paying a fee for them, because it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, we'll just have them. Hopefully in League Two. That would be interesting. I think there'll still be good players in League Two. Richardson's played League Two before, and Art has obviously played Prem. So, yeah. Max says, does Cal steal Ruben's limelight? Ruben's played better without Cal. I said at the start of the season to you, before the Barnet, it was a morning in the Barnet game, this squad are going to go through a full season with Cal Roberts and Ruben Rodriguez attacking. And I couldn't wait. Disappointed me a bit. But when one plays really well, the other doesn't necessarily play as well. I'm thinking of Cal's injury and Ruben at the minute. And then I'm thinking of Ruben didn't necessarily play very well against Kings Lynn. Cal gets a hat-trick.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I think their roles are so suited to certain styles and formations. Unfortunately, I mean, they can play well at the same time, but I think when they really have a really good game, it's because that formation suits that player. Like, Kings Lynn is the prime example of that. We went 4-3-3 second half, and Cal gets his hat-trick. We're playing 3-5-2 against Southend, Ruben gets hat-trick. And I'm not saying it's that black and white. Like, if we're playing 3-5-2, Ruben will score. But I'm just saying, different formations definitely suit the different players. And it's just difficult, I think, to incorporate them in. I mean, for me, Ruben has been a great attacking player. Would you put him in the middle of a 3 as the main striker in a 4-3-3? I mean, who knows? And we're never gonna know either, because we've got Wootton. So I think to see them both, at their peak in the same squad, it would be difficult, I think. I think these are conversations we had at the start of the season as well.
Yeah. But look at Ruben's second goal yesterday, and last Saturday, and that answers the question for me. Does he get the goal without Wootton? No. So
yeah.
They to have those two players strike up such a partnership all season, because let's be honest, we've missed chance after chance, but it's still been a good partnership between them. What's that? 30 goals, and I think it's with assists like 37 between them, goals and assists. Like, that's a good partnership. Your strike partnership's got 30 goals, and with the fixtures we've got left, I would back them probably goals between them. That's really good. and you wouldn't break that up towards the end of the season, I don't think. It's interesting what you say. If you say to me now, forget Cal and Ruben and just talk about the formation, I'm preferring 5 at the back. And that suits Ruben more than Cal. But we've seen Cal play well in a 5 at the back as well. It's not like we've just seen him play well in the 4 at the back. That 4 at the back, like you said, stands out massively because it was a hat-trick in the second half when we were losing at half-time. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. So if you look at our question on our video, it's how many points you think Notts are going to get. But there's a sub-question that I'd like just to know, really. I've been wondering it today. What's your favourite game you've been to this season? It can be a home game or an away game. Your favourite game you've gone to this season so far? Because obviously we don't want to include Wembley in that because we might get there. It's not good enough. Been delivering too many babies. So, yeah, which has been your favourite? Which has been your favourite game this season? We'll realise at the end. We'll go on to Torquay then. And if Torquay United Reacts is still in the chat with us, let us know realistically, from your point of view and your fans' point of view, realistically, do you think you can still get playoffs? I'd like to know that from a Torquay perspective. Do you think you can still get playoffs? Yes.
What are the feelings as well? Like, what's it like in Torquay camp? Do you feel like you're massively underachieving and it's disjointed, or is it just minor issues?
We were sent a few messages at the start of the season when we did our prediction, and one of the messages was, a couple of the messages said that Torquay fans believed their squad was much, much stronger than it was last season, if you remember the message or the messages. They said their squad was a lot stronger. We had you down as 11th and 12th in our predictions. George was 12th, I was 11th. Currently 11th. But so you think personally you're not going to get playoffs, but some think so. 1 game in hand, 9 behind. Yeah, it's a bit like Southend, isn't it? Where you feel like Torquay are going to have to win to have any chance of getting that playoff spot. But we'll look at Torquay. Do you still have the same, I won't say hate because it's not, but dislike for Torquay from the playoffs last season? And I know it was quite a feisty game at Medellin at the second game of the season when Danny Wright scores a mistake from Slocum and they had 10 men. Or do you think that's sort of it now? It's just another game. I don't think the players necessarily see Torquay as what they did at the start of the season.
No, and I think that majorly is down to their league position as well. I think if they were in the playoffs and it was tight contested, it definitely would be. But because of the nature of the fixture, I don't really think it is anymore.
No, I don't either. I still think it's going to be a very, very difficult game. This is, like you said, this is more of a banana skin than Southend, I think. But I did say I don't know if you agreed with me on last Friday's video, I did say that if Notts win against Southend, I would take a draw against Torquay. But if Notts drew with Southend, I want a win against Torquay. Do you feel like a draw will be okay going into those final 7 games we've got? 4 of the bottom 5 to play in those?
Well, I think, I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I definitely wouldn't be like, if that happens tomorrow, I wouldn't be happy about it.
A draw?
No. Yeah, I think we should be winning that game, really, to be honest. A side we do struggle against, but I think in the grand scheme of things, we've got to, if we win that game, then, it really is game on for, second or third. And I mean, who knows what could happen? I know Richard from Notts County has tweeted that we need an average of 2.2 points in the rest of our games to guarantee that third place, I think.
Yeah.
So, any points drop like that where it's a draw, it's not ideal. I mean, if you're going to draw to any of the last games we have now, it would be that game, definitely. But, I mean, I don't want to say we're going to go on like a 10-game winning streak, but strange things have happened.
I think, like Chris said right at the start, if we win the game tomorrow, it's all on for the rest of the season. We welcome Kings Lynn and Dover to Medellin.
Yeah.
And we go to Dover. I think we have Weymouth as well. Like, I'm not saying we're going to win those games. And I never want to say it's an easy fixture list, but if I was looking at, I don't know, Chesterfield, Solihull, Halifax, and their fixture list was the same as ours, I would say it's easy. But because it's not, you're not going to say it's easy because it's your own team, aren't you?
Yeah.
I just think you've got to be. Well, we've got the question about how many points we're going to pick up at the end of the season. You've got to be looking at genuinely after Torquay. You've got to be looking at maximum. You can't be looking at a loss in there either. Did you see Richard Notts County stats earlier? It's a little plug, but he put up if the average points of the season continued and the form we're in at the minute, where teams would finish.
I did say it, but I can't recall it off the top of my head.
Yeah, so it'd have Stockport win the league, Wrexham second, Solihull third, Notts fourth, Notts just missing out, Chesterfield fifth, Halifax sixth, Grimsby seventh. I think with the fixtures we've got, I genuinely think it's doable. If we lose tomorrow, I mean, how many points are behind? We're 6 points behind Halifax. 6 points behind, but it's definitely doable. 100%. So look at Torquay then. One player that scares me a little bit is that Lemon High Evans. Good player. Played really well in the playoffs last season. A player I'd like Notts to have. And then obviously Danny Wright will probably turn up and score against Notts. I know you're a big fan of Danny Wright, aren't you? Big fan.
Yeah.
Massive. But I feel confident as well. And it's going to be like Torquay Reacts has said here, whoever turns up on the day for Torquay, if they show up, if they still believe there's playoffs, there's a big chance there. Some of their players still might want to win. We don't have Kyle Cameron in there. Personally, that takes some of the edge away from the game. And I think that could work in Notts' favour, actually, because we're defending very well at the minute. If you take the edge away from that, they've got no one to get the Torquay fans up, have they? They'll be all on at Kyle Cameron, but if it's not there, they can't. Well, he'll be there, but they can't use that to fuel them. The main, again, I can't see him getting off the bench, really. So, and the main, I don't really think they have too much animosity towards him. Probably not, but there we go.
To be fair, Kyle Cameron does like the old banter online, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Torquay have won the last 2 games. They beat Weymouth 3-0, Aldershot 4-0. So they've scored 7 in their last 2 games without conceding. As well, Notts have ground out those results. They've got some good results we've already spoken about. So we'll go on to the lineup. 5 at the back for me. Again, no-brainer, away from home. And I do think we'll see 4 at the back, possibly in the games against Kings Lynn, Weymouth, Dover at home. I do think we'll see them there. But yeah, I go 5 at the back. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think we're going to agree all together on this one today.
I don't know. You've talked about Carl Roberts possibly coming in. But anyway, I'm going Richardson.
Yeah.
And Dion at wing backs.
Who's in goal?
Yaros.
Yeah.
Rawlinson, Lacey, Chickson.
Yeah.
Midfield. This is where it could differ.
I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say Arter, Palmer, and Roberts, just for that overlap on the right hand side.
I'm an Arter, Palmer, and Vincent.
I mean, also very good. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that. I think Vincent's been great. I just think it'd be interesting to see if Roberts does come in, if it does affect Richardson's game.
I'm very, very confident one of us is right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one of it, unless there's an injury or late illness, I'm pretty sure one of us is right. Yeah. And then I go Rodriguez behind Mutton.
Yep.
So pretty much the same. And we've not had many weeks where I've said we'll pretty much do unchanged. We went unchanged for the last game. It happened, I think. This next game, it could happen again. So that is a settled side now. And the bench is very strong as well. Mm-hmm. Right, before we do our prediction then, what should we do today, Joe? I'll let you pick. Should we do a score prediction or should we do a man of the match prediction?
Let's go man of the match.
Man of the match. We'll go man of the match prediction. So we won't do it just yet. We'll have a look at the poll then, George. Go on.
Right then, the poll. How many points will Notts pick up from the last 8 games? 6% voted 0 to 7. 13% voted 8 to 14. 54% voted 15 to 21. 27% voted 22 or more, which is quite astounding, really, because that's more than a quarter of the vote thinks that we're going to get 22 or more, which
will be 7 wins. It will be 8 straight wins or 7 wins and a draw, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's confident.
I'm going to say I went for 15 to 21. I think if we get anything less than that, it's not good enough.
No, I go 15 to 21, but I think we'll be at the higher end of that. I think we'll probably get 19, 20, something like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, thanks. Good luck for the rest of the season. Yeah, appreciate that. Good luck for you after tomorrow. So, I can have a great season, but just not tomorrow. And then finally, before we go on to our man of the match prediction, George, What's been your favourite game this season? I've got two I can't really pick from.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. Ooh.
I know some people before that. Some people in the chat have someone put Weymouth, someone put Grimsby away, someone put Wrexham at home. I think I might have seen a Solihull at home when we broke the record. What's your favourite game you've been to this season? One way you've walked away and thought, I had a great day out today. Lovely, great day out.
Away game, I'm probably going to say Yeovil. I thought Yeovil was a good away day. I know I feel like you'll probably say Grimsby because what a way to win and against the team that were top at the time. But yeah, for me, Yeovil was a really good performance. We saw some young players that we might have had a little doubts in, such as Kieran Brennan playing really well. And came away with all three, made it look relatively straightforward. And home fixture, I'm going to say Barnet because it's not every day you see not score that many goals.
No, do you not rate the Kingsland away though? 4 second half goals.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. To be fair, it was good.
I'm going to go Wrexham. Ben's just taking words out of my mouth. Wrexham in the league.
Yeah.
For the home game, and Grimsby away for the away game. That was unbelievable. Ruben Rodriguez. Oh, scenes when that went in. The away end if you're watching from Grimsby perspective, that must have been incredibly loud. Right, man of the match then. Before we give ours, we'll get a few people's man of the matches. Callum, man of the match Chicks with a beautiful, perfect hat trick and a goal line clearance. That would certainly do man of the match. Chris says Richardson man of the match with a 3-1 Notts win. If you've got any more man of the matches, just put them in there. Who you think is going to be that man of the match tomorrow for Notts? Who's going to be the key player? Mark has gone with Palmer for man of the match, and Max has gone Arter, 2-1 Notts, Ruben and Lacey. George, who are you picking as your man of the match for tomorrow? Who do you think it's going to be?
Yaros.
Yaros?
Yeah.
He's stepped up, hasn't he? He's really stepped up.
Yeah, I think if they put it on us, I can see Yaros get a man of the match because, he really has proved us wrong because there was points this season where we were doubting him a bit, weren't there? But he's been class. So I hope he does. It'd be good.
It's strange for me that his not turning point. He wasn't ever bad, but his turning point was actually the 3-0 loss at Stockport.
Yeah, it was because that could have been a colossal loss if it were for Yaros.
That could genuinely have been 8-0, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you could be in with a shout for that one. You could definitely be in with a shout that Yaros will get man of the match tomorrow for Notts. Ben says Wootton man of the match, 2-0 Notts. I'm going to go for Harry Arter man of the match. I think the more he finds his form, and given a week between games to learn how to play, to get used to the players still, to learn what Bertrand wants him to do, his role in the side, match fitness, everything. I think he's going to be man of the match. I think he's going to be fantastic. Really, really good. He's going to be great. And Tom says Vincent and 2-1 Notts. Having Yaros man of the match is that bad? I just think I don't necessarily think it is bad having Yaros as man of the match. I think some of the saves he made. If you make 2 world-class saves in a game and not to win 1-0, even if the defense has been okay, it's still pretty good, isn't it? So I've seen a lot of Notts fans that are already down in Torquay, long journey, so it should be good tomorrow. Good noise as well. As I said, there's a 95% chance I'm not going. If I can persuade my partner to drive down first thing in the morning to Torquay, might get it. I was looking at hotels, and on the day hotels, you were looking at like £350 for 2 nights.
Basically, if you see a man walking a cat and he goes back to a tent, it's probably Tom.
I do. I've got my cat harness trained, and I'll leave it there because I don't want to take pelters from people there. I don't want to take pelters. We'll end it on that. 8:30 coach departure. I don't think she'll want to spend a Saturday on the coach. I can't see me getting that one past the Max. I can't see that. If you are traveling down or you're already there, you might be watching us from a hotel room there. I'm not sure. Make a lot of noise again because the players, it gets them through. It seriously does get them through. This is a massive game, depending on where we want to finish this season. 6 points behind, 24 still to play for. A lot of people believe we can still get 22 plus points. So if you go in, if you're already there, safe journey, and hopefully you can bring back 3 points for us. And as always, thank you for joining us on this Friday evening.